Welcome back, Brigandine friends. I'm your host, Veracity Trigger, and today I'm going to give you a how-to as to equipment and items. And this is going to be based upon the game Brigandine, The Legend of Runerzia. So let's get into it. Let's move to a capital. Let's move to our capital right now. This is a part of the demo. But this will teach you how to use equipment, what is good to use in equipment, and some options that you have, as well as some other things that are new to Brigandine, The Legend of Runerzia, that you will not find in Brigandine, The Legend of Forsena, or Grand Edition. So we're going to get into this. We're going to cover a lot of things here today. We're going to try to cover as much as we can. There probably will be more pieces of items and equipment that will come out later on when the full game is out, and I'll try to cover that then. But today it's just going to be a basic tutorial as to what is what and why. So let's get into this. So press A on your troops here to move into the castle. Right now we are in Norzaleo. Here are all the options here. We're going to go to equipment, press A. Now we're going to look at this here. Now before we move on too much farther forward, I just want to pause here real quick and just tell you that everything that you're putting on equipment will affect every single thing in this banner bar right here, from your combat points to proficiency, what you are equipping, what's highlighted as far as what you are equipping, your attacking orbs, your defending orbs, your HP, your attack, your strength, your MP, your defense, your intelligence, terrain type, your mobility, how far you can move, and your agility, whether you can evade or make sure you guarantee a hit. So it's going to cover every single parameter here. All your equipment and items will potentially change some of these factors here. So I just want to make that as disclaimers, just so you know. Some things you may not want to change, but there might be a lot of things that you do want to change by donning particular parts of equipment. So let's go into equipment. Let's go on to Rubino here. Let's click here. Now, as you can see, he is holding the Justice Brigandine, which has 2 blue orbs for defense. And so, yeah, it's got that. It's got some extra plus 15 defense points, plus 15 HP points. So it's a pretty good piece of armor right there. And if we back up real fast, you'll see that the reason he has 1 blue orb is because of himself, and 1 blue orb for offense and defense is just due to him being Prince Rubino. The other 2 blue orbs are based upon the Brigandine of Justice. So that's a clear thing to denote right here, okay? Just want you to know that. So let's go forward. Let's give him a weapon. Let's give him the Blade of Durandal. Although I think this should just be called the Durandal Sword, or just Durandal maybe, but this is what it's called. This will give me an attack of 3 blue orbs, right? So that will stack on top of my already 1 blue orb attack for Rubino. So that's going to stack on top of it, but it's also going to give me 13 attack, 15 MP, accuracy plus 5%, and magic resist plus 5%. It's a really good sword. And so we're going to go ahead and equip it. So let's go ahead and do that. Are you sure? And I just switched equipment there, okay? We're going to go down here. Let's take off the Justice Brigandine. Can't do it. I think there's a theory as to possibly being able to put other rulers' equipment on, but we'll have to look into that a little bit later and see. I have a theory about that. I'll explain it later though. But so far, the ruler of the country cannot change his Justice Brigandine armor, at least right now. Can't do it. So we're going to put on a lightning helm here. This lightning helm gives double blue defense plus all those green lit up numbers there. You can see all my stats rising on the right side. Let's go ahead and do that. See all that boost that we got. It's pretty cool. And now we got a wisdom medal. So we're going to get all these kind of boost stats too, but no orb defense or offense here. So just go ahead and give him the wisdom medal. Now we're going to back out and we're going to look at this. Look at this. So now his orb attack increased because of the equipment we gave him, and increased because of the defensive equipment we gave him too. So you can get up to 5. Can you get up to more? Well, let's check it out. You're probably like, you can only get to 5 orb slots for attack, and you know, I'll go into what orbs basically essentially mean in a half a minute here. But I'm going to go ahead and show you something really cool. Just make sure you remember this little part here. See how all these pieces of equipment that are highlighted here now? If we look down at Grados, he only has armor. He doesn't have anything else equipped. So we're going to go and equip him. See how he only has armor there? And if we back out, you can see that it kind of shows that. Now that we equipped Rubino, you can see right away he is equipped with something. So if you're like, I don't know if he's equipped with something right away, it shows right there, whether it's highlighted or unhighlighted or darkened in a sense, in a manner of speaking. So let's look at Grados, and you can see he is 3 white orbs, right, for his attack, and 3 white orbs for defense. Okay, so just remember that. So let's go ahead and equip him with what Rubino had. And we'll give him the Blade of Durandal, which has 3 blue orbs. And you're like, wait a second, there's only 5 slots to use. That could be bad. I might lose out on a white orb attack or a blue orb attack. This could be maybe not the greatest. Well, let's go ahead and give it to him anyways. So we're going to back out here. And now check this out. Just check this out. We are up to 6 orbs. It increased the whole slot area here. Look at how it just increased it. Now there's potentially maybe 9 slots you could put in an offensive weapon, although I don't know if we're gonna get to see something like that, but there is the potential for it, I guess. So if you find other pieces of gear that can increase your attack also, I mean, you could go up very high with a weapon or a character that can do massive amounts of elemental damage. And so that's just something I kind of wanted to point out, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So how is it basically? You're just going in equipment here. You're just pressing A when you're on the equipment, and you give them what they can have. And so the equipment has to line up with the icon. So this icon matches this icon. And monsters mostly have these same kind of icons, but they have a little M to their name. I'll go over to a monster here, and I'll kind of show you the difference. And so we'll probably check that out. But yes, in Brigandine, the Legend of Runerzia, you can equip up to 4 pieces of equipment. Now this is way more than you could in Grand Edition, and way more than you could in Legend of Forsena. Legend of Forsena, you could equip 1 piece of equipment to a knight. Monsters could not equip anything. In Grand Edition, knights could equip an offensive weapon and a defensive piece of gear, and monsters could equip 1 piece of gear, whether it was offense, defense, whatever. Usually they were like monster rings, and that's really mostly what monsters could get. Sometimes it got gloves or talons or something like that. But here you get so much more equipment than you have ever had in any of the previous installments. So we're going to go over to this Frost Dragon here, go into his equipment. Now we can see he can equip up to 4 things. He can equip claws, he can equip heavy monster armor, heavy helmet armor, and a ring. Now sometimes knights and monsters can share some of these pieces here, and I think that's why this isn't showing up with an M like for monster, because some knights can hold this, although if I go into inventory it'll look a little strange, but pretty much most of the monsters are going to look like this. If we go over to this monster, you got this core or this orb that he can equip, plus a lot of M's here. If we go to a rock, you know, you see that. If we go over to a Cyclops. You see this? So there's a lot of M next to the gear that monsters can equip, and it really just depends if you have that gear. You have to go questing for this gear, and you can quest a lot of guys and gals to go find gear. It's a really cool process. You can really stack your team very strong. Angels can equip regular knights' swords, as you can see here, which is pretty cool. But they do have some monster gear equipment here. There's a light robe, there's a light hat, and all that. So anyways, I think it's pretty self-explanatory in some ways. But what's interesting too, before we get too far, is that this Iron Golem, let's take this piece off of him because I just want to show you the difference here. This Iron Golem, who has no... Typically, golems have no orbs at all. No elemental offense, no elemental defense at all. They're just basically their stats, their attack and their defense stat. That's really what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, I can equip the Golem with this core, which I typically call an orb, but I guess considering the fact that I'm talking about elemental orbs as well, I should probably call it a core. But if I give it this Thunderous Gem, which is... The reason why this is yellow is because it's a really rare weapon. It's going to give him 20 MP, 26 intelligence, 5% evasion, plus triple green orb attack. So, click, equipped. Now let's back out. And we're going to see now he actually has an elemental offensive attack here, which is really good. So he has no elemental weaknesses or elemental strengths on his defense here because there's nothing here. But he does have an offensive attack of green. So if this Iron Golem is to punch a bunch of, I don't know, blue dragons, frost dragons, he's going to do a massive amount of damage. So Iron Golem is good if you like, well, there's a bunch of Hydras and a bunch of blue dragons that I gotta fight. Well, I guess I'll bring my Iron Golem to this battle. You know, he's gonna do some pretty good damage. So that's kind of how you want to look at things. Now, as far as going into the types, I think I explained it pretty well. Like there's this kind of stuff, there's, you know, this kind of gear, and some of it looks a little bit different. Really, it comes down to, do you have the same exact look? If you find a piece of gear and it looks like this icon, it's going to fit whatever monster or whatever leader can equip that type of icon. If it has an M next to it, then it might need to have a monster that can equip it. If it doesn't, it's probably for a leader. Now, it really depends on which type of class, which type of job will, you know, pick which type of equipment to use. So if we look at like a lower level knight here, if we look at this guy here who is a ranger, he's got just medium armor, he's got a gauntlet for his hand. It doesn't show M next to it like a mixed or a monster item. He's got a regular ring. He's got a little dagger there, or actually I think that's called something else, but I can't remember the name. But it's sort of like the dagger slot. It's sort of like the dagger icon, right? So if you find this piece of gear, this will match Alejandro, and Alejandro will be able to equip that piece of gear. Unfortunately, right now, my questing has not resulted in those types of gear that I could find. But what's here in my inventory, I could give him. So it shows my inventory. Oh, fine jacket. Let's give him a fine jacket. How about that? All right. Now also, if you look at this here, I'll point this out right here in case you're confused. You're looking at this number owned 1, and you're like, but I got 2 there. I'm equipping 1 and there's 1 there. Well, it's showing you how much is in your inventory, not what you've equipped. This is your equipment here, and that's what you have on you, and this is the inventory of what you have left over. So this means 1. There's 1 extra 1 in our inventory. Let's take the jacket off of him, and it'll show the number owned going up to 2. So remove, Now it's gone up to 2 because now we have 2 in our inventory. Now, I know this might seem kind of basic, but this did confuse me a little bit. I'm like, wait, number owned? You know, it doesn't seem to match up with what I'm looking at. But this is basically what this means. What's in your inventory that is not equipped? Number owned means what's in the inventory that you have unequipped, okay? Just so you remember this, because when I was looking at the Brigandine of Justice, I'm like, wait, number of owned 0? But he has one, you know? But he has it equipped, and there are none in the inventory that are unequipped, is essentially what I had to... It took me a while to kind of understand that, but... Okay, so I think I explained the types, you know, that you can get. Pick is a male pixie, kind of a fairy class. Well, I don't think Pick is human. Humanoid, I guess I would have to say. So Pick can carry different types of weapons, like an orb, like typically a lot of the monsters can. So Pick could get this Thunderous Gem. We could give that to Pick. We could give Pick a bunch of other things. So some other characters are kind of special, and they might be able to get different types of gear that normal knights don't usually get. So you want to be on the lookout for that too. Okay? So I think I covered types. We're going to look at orb differences here, and I'm just going to make a basic layout as to what beats what and why. Okay? Because you look at the Cyclops, you're like, what is the Cyclops doing here? Why does it have a red and a white orb attack and defense? Well, there's a lot of good questions and answers I can go over here. So I'm just going to do a very basic thing here. I'm just going to write B for blue, and just so you remember, so B for blue, because I'm talking about blue orbs. So these orbs here is what I'm going to be describing. All these colored orbs that are here. Hopefully I can... I can't. I can't draw right now for whatever reason. I don't know why. But these orbs here, the color of these orbs is going to determine an extra modifier towards your attack against another kind of orb. So we're going to write B for blue, for the blue orb. And the blue orb is the water elemental. Will be able to beat a red elemental. So the blue orbs beat the red orbs. So the water puts out the fire, right? So a frost dragon is going to have extra damage to hurt a regular dragon, right? That's how Brigandine typically works. Now a red orb is going to put extra multiplied damage modifier onto green. And green signifies earth. So fire burns earth, essentially. So a dragon is going to do extra damage to something like an imp that has a green defense. So what you're looking at is the red dragon, its attacking orb, attacking the imp's green defensive orb. And because they have that, you're going to see additional damage tacked on to your normal attack. So what you want to do in this game typically is you want to have the right orbs, monsters and leaders attack the correct corresponding orbs. So you typically want to take your knights and monsters that have red orbs and attack the knights and monsters that have green orbs for their defensive orb. So, and then the green orb is going to beat a blue orb or do more damage to a blue orb. So something like this imp here, if we have a different example, if we're looking at this golem here, this iron golem who has triple green orbs right here. It's a little sloppy, but I hope you know what I'm doing here, okay? So there's triple green orbs here. This iron golem is going to do massive damage to this frost dragon because of its blue defensive orbs, right? And then this frost dragon is going to do massive damage to this dragon, right? And then this dragon could do massive damage to something that has green defensive orbs. Now, this iron golem has no green defensive orbs, so it's not weak to it. So the dragon would be better off attacking something that has a green orb defense, like an imp or something like that, whatever you have in the battlefield, really. But that's how the orbs work in this game, and I hope that you kind of understand. You know, you kind of get my point. But I had to go over that real quick just so you understand that that is a big part of the game. You know, and not always are you going to be able to attack the corresponding element based upon some situations, but if you want to try to favor your damage being stronger, you kind of want the corresponding elements to work together. And if we look at an angel here, I'll just look at an angel real quick, and we look at the white orbs. So white orbs will do extra damage to the purple orbs. In the past they were black orbs, now they look purple. And the white orbs are basically holy versus the darkness. And the purple orbs also do corresponding, you know, damage to the holy orbs or the white orbs. So if we were to give, let's say we were to give this lizard man the Obsidian Curious, right? Let's give him the Obsidian Curious. So he's got the Obsidian Curious. Okay, give him a Frost Hatchet to give him a blue orb attack. Lizardmen don't seem to have, you know, elemental attacks anyways. But if just to go over this, if an angel that has a white orb attack was to attack this lizard guard with purple orb defense, the angel would do more damage to the lizard guard or to the lizard man, because the white does an extra percentage of damage. The white orbs will do an extra percentage of damage onto the purple orbs. So yeah, I figured I'd just go over and cover that a little bit. I think you kind of already understand. If you need to know what the percentages are, the new game might have some different modifiers to it, but typically in the past with the older Brigandine games, it was like 20, 30, 40%. So I think you start with like 20 here and then 30%. And so it would just be something like that. You tack on 20, 30, 40% onto your attack as a damage modifier. So that's what I figured I'd go over and cover, because sometimes people get into this game and they get a little confused with the orbs. And the cool thing about this is you can change the orbs up so dramatically in this game that you can make a really bomb Iron Golem because of the fact that it has no elemental weaknesses, and you can give it an elemental offense. So, you know, there are some things like that. That's kind of cool. So this lizard man is actually pretty interesting. It's just that if you send him into battle, you don't want him getting Divine Raid by a holy elemental attack. You don't want that. You don't want angels attacking him. You don't want, you know, you want to send him against dark elemental things, because he'll have double purple defense to all dark elemental things. So this lizard man's going to get up and tear some dark elemental demons and nightmares apart, and it'll have a blue orb defense or blue orb offensive attack if we keep him with this nice trusty frost axe here. We could take it off and give him a light hatchet instead, and he won't have an elemental attack. Or we could give it back to him, you know. And it's pretty cool how you can just fiddle with this and just kind of do whatever. So you can make some really interesting concoctions here. I'd have to say, if we were gonna do something with the Gigantes here, we got these light knuckles we could give him. I'm giving him lightning knuckles, which gives him green orbs. If I'm to give him the flame knuckles, I'd give him a red attack. Frost knuckles, give him a blue. But let's look at this here. This Gigantes now has a red orb attack, 2 green orb attacks, and 1 white orb attack, and a defense of red and white. So what does that essentially mean? This Cyclops is going to do additional damage to green monsters and knights, green orb monsters and knights, additional damage to blue orbed monsters and knights, and additional damage to black orb monsters and knights. That's freaking awesome. It has 3 types of attacks that will do extra damage to 3 kinds of elemental defenses. and it also defends against red and white. So I know this is kind of long, but I hope that you kind of understand what's going on. And because we just gave him that fist, it shows the fist here. It's highlighted. The other ones are darkened out. But yeah, that's pretty much what a lot of equipment does. So I'm going to talk about my theory real quick, and we'll kind of get into this. And so when you come back here, if I press triangle, well, I mean, what was triangle is X now. And I come over here, I press X for details, and I move over to the right, and it says, Mana Stone's Grace. Blessing of the Mana Stone. The blessings of Mana Stone prevent the following status conditions: poison, paralyze, silence, faint, which is now stun, petrify, and charm. So faint is stun, where you get the little circles, you know, the stars to fly around your head, and you're like, oh, what happened, you know? And then you get hit one more time, and it takes you out of stun, whereas you can't move or do anything. But you have to be physically hit one more time to actually come out of the stun. So this Brigandine of Justice will give you all these extra benefits on top of having double blue orb defense, HP of 15 plus, defense of 15 plus. It's a pretty good piece of equipment, isn't it? So if we're to back out and go into our equipment here, and I try to remove it, it gives me what the negative modifier for it is. So it says, if you remove this, this is what's going to happen. And I think that if this Brigandine of Justice for Rubino was only permanently meant to be for him, it wouldn't have a negative stat modifier, because all of this Justice armor would be built into him. Absolutely built into him. Like, there wouldn't be a negative factor to seeing it becoming unequipped, because you could never unequip it. So that's why I think it's possible, probably in the game. This is still just a demo, but I think this is my theory, and I think in my theory that it's possible to gain extra Brigandines from fallen countries. So this is just a theory so far, okay? I'm just writing that down. It's just a theory that I have, and I think it's possible you'll be able to get Brigandines from other countries that fall. Like if we took Norzalio, let's just imagine we take Norzalio and we go down south and we take over the Kingdom of Grumol, or the Republic of Grumol, and we take over their whole territory. We might, during some cutscene, find the Brigandine of Glory and get the Brigandine of Glory, which the Brigandine of Glory has double red defense. Has all the same stuff besides this, but double red defense. So I think because here it says, you know, owned 0, but maybe that's not so much the case. It's just, I really kind of think that we're going to be able to get more than just one Brigandine. And it might be possible that the game is based upon collecting all the Brigandines in order to maybe fight the final boss. You know, it's still a theory of mine, but, you know, let me know what you think. And if you're also wondering about equipment too, let's talk about that. So if we're going to look at equipment, what I want to do here is yeah, I showed you Grados. He gets up to 6 orbs for his attack, and you could do this probably for your defense too, although I don't have equipment to showcase for you right now. But let's do some items here, and I'll show you. We go into items, press A. Let's go to Rubino here. And so we got our inventory here. We're in our items, but it also lets us see our equipment, because inventory includes all of this. So you're probably wondering, what does this mean? You know, why is the Blade of Durandal in yellow? Why are the lightning knuckles in purple? You know, why? Let's let's try to explain a couple things here, okay? So let's look at something where it's like, okay, this is a good part here. So the lightning helm is in yellow because it has 3 stars. And the sacred helm and the ice helm are in purple. They're written in purple. They have purple lettering because they have 2 stars. And now all these other pieces of equipment are in white because they have 1 star. So the star basically means how rare it is and how powerful it is, right? Why are these other ones down here in gray? Well, this is in gray because this is not an equipable piece of armor for Rubino. That's why it's grayed out. But it's still the yellow color there, and it's still 3 stars. This purple one's grayed out because he can't equip that. See, he can only equip these heavy helmet pieces here. He cannot equip these light hat helmet pieces. This is why these are grayed out. They're still the same color as up here, but they're just grayed out. That's what that means. And you can see that this Wisdom Helm is currently being equipped by Ariana, and the Lightning Helm is currently being equipped by Rubino himself right now. So that's what a lot of this means. So I think I'd just go ahead and cover that in case like you're a little confused, as to what's going on with some of these things. But I think you kind of understand it now. If you have any other questions, please let me know. I will definitely go ahead and answer some things, because there are a lot of interesting things in here. Like, I've got a frost hatchet that the lizard man is holding, but the frost hatchet also can be used by a barbarian. So that's why it's in here too. But then we got our monster gear here too, which has the M next to it, right there. And I think it means mixed and possibly monster, but mostly this is going to be more so geared towards monsters, as you can see with some of this stuff here. So let's just go back, let's back out, and let's go to our inventory. Let's talk about inventory now, because I think I covered everything else pretty well. If I didn't, let me know. I will go over it. But here what we got here is Power Potion with 1 star. Let's read the description. Very slightly increases maximum strength. Wisdom Pill. Slightly increases maximum intelligence. Speed Potion. Very slightly. Life Potion. Very slightly. So when it's saying very slightly, it means that this is a potion that you can use, although it's not a very good one. It's the basic tier. But if we get up to the middle tier, it's just going to say slightly instead of very slightly. As you can see, there is a difference here with the verbiage. Oh, I guess the line doesn't go with it. But there is a difference with the verbiage here. So we're going to go ahead and equip some of these potions and see what happens. So Power Potions for strength. And we went up 1 strength point. Cool. Now let's do another Power Potion and see what happens. We went up 1 more strength point. Awesome. Wisdom Pill. This one is a slightly stronger pill or potion. So let's give him that. Went up 2 intelligence. So the pills are better than the potions. Speed Potion. Went up 1 agility. That's pretty good. Life Potion. What does Life Potion do? Very slightly increases maximum HP. Let's give him that. 4 HP. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, now we're going to finish off this video talking about a couple things here. There are probably more items that I have not been able to acquire that we can go over later, but some of these are very important, and 2 of these are just very important right now. This Enlightenment Scroll, a scroll that boosts a knight's proficiency tier, of which Rubino can't use because he's already proficient at his job at the moment. And there's a Revival Stone, a miraculous stone that recalls a fallen monster's spirit back to its body. Use it from the summon menu. So let's go over the Revival Stone right now. I want to show you this. I'm going to show you a really, really cool thing. So we're going to go to our summon. You can go to any castle and use this Revival Stone. Any castle that has the ability to summon, which is basically every castle. So any castle, anywhere, and you can summon a dead monster back to life with the Revival Stone. But it will cost you mana, okay? So right now it says right here, I'm highlighting summon, and we are on the summon menu. I can press left and right to see what I want to summon and all that. But there is this little cheeky button over here. This little cheeky button just kind of popped in there, didn't it? So we got this little revive option now with this little recycle button right there. So what am I going to do? Well, okay, I guess I hit Y to go to revive, and it flipped the screen. And now the top screen here says revive. So we are in the revive spot now. Now, you don't typically get to see this if you don't have a mana revival stone, but I have these two monsters that I could revive. So I don't know. Let's see what would happen if we revived a Wyvern. So I'm going to click A here, and what does it say? I'm going to have to use a certain amount of mana because my mana is going to go from 4,836 to 4,602. So I'll be using that much mana, which I think it should be here under summon mana. So I think you are using 234 mana to resummon this back from the dead. And you're using this revival stone here, right here, which is an item that I found for questing, and it will give you no revival stones left because I only have one. So you can use the revival stone to revive someone back to life, a monster back to life, not a knight, because the knights typically just get injured and then they gotta wait a month and then they're kind of refreshed. But the revival stone will bring a dead monster back to life. Now, do I want to do it on a basic Wyvern? Probably not. I probably want to save this for something like an ancient dragon or a Balmot or something amazing. You know, some third tier or second tier, really high level monster that died in a battle accidentally. I can bring it back, but I will have to pay for it. Whatever it says down here with the summon mana, whatever this says, this is what you have to spend. So you do need mana to bring it back, as well as you also do need a revival stone. So if you do not have this revival stone, this option for this screen will not be available to you. It will not be available. So don't just think that, oh, I just want to go summon stuff back from the dead. You have to go questing and find a revival stone in order to do this. And then you're going to have to use some of your own mana to get it back. So I'm just saying, it's, you know, just the way things are. I'm going to press Y again. You can see we've gone back to the summon area. So if I want to go summon something, I can. And let's say I want to summon Angel. It shows me right there. This is how much summon mana I'm going to have to use to get it. I'm going from this much mana pool that I have down to this much. And this is how much I'm spending right there. So that, I hope you understand, you know, what's going on with that, because that might seem a little confusing, but I hope I explained it pretty well. It's really just, if you don't know what screen you're in, just look at the very top. But look at the very top word here. This says summon. We are in the summon screen. If I hit Y, now we're in the revive screen. I know that this says this here, but what this means for this button is just press this button to go to that screen, to flip to that page, okay? So just remember that, all right? Okay, I think I've over-explained this a bit. I hope not, but let's back out. Let's talk about proficiency here. And let's go over that, okay? So when it comes to proficiency, this is a part of your stats, and this is a part of how you want to grow your knight. Now, let's look at a unit that's I don't know, a little bit off or a little bit wonky as far as certain things go. So maybe not him. Let's look at her. So let's look at the Bard Kara, right? She has a level of 3, so she's level 3 and she's proficiency of 2. Now typically what I like to do when I'm playing is I like to get knights matching their level. Every 5 levels you get to proficiency tier 5. In the past it was called expert status, where you get 5 levels or expert status, you can move into a different job and take over most of your abilities and most of your magic, if not all magic, and have a new job with extra abilities and extra magic that that job class typically won't have. So what I like to do is, if I have something like this, I may want to give Kara a proficiency item in order to match her level. But she's still just at 3. It's proficiency at 2. Let's find a knight that might be a little more suited for this, okay? So let's go find a knight that's just on the verge. It's just on the verge of becoming like another job class, and let's talk about that. So we've got, oh, perfect. Okay, so let's go to items here. Or actually, let's go to class. We can probably check out a couple things here. So let's just back out here real fast. We'll just talk about this. So she is level 5, and she's a proficiency of 4. So she is a hunter. So if she gains 1 more proficiency or 1 more level, she will be proficiency of 5, which means that if she wanted to change to a new job, she could do so. Now, to get to the next proficiency, she has to become level 6. But in this game, every 5 levels gets you a next tier proficiency, right? And so to try to get as many different classes in there, as many different abilities and magic spells and all that sort of thing, you kind of want to change to your next job class as soon as you can, as soon as you're proficient, and also have a low level to do so, to get more skills. So if we go to her class and we look at this here, we're going to look at her hunter abilities. Going to press R1. She has no magic as a hunter. We're going to look at this. So what does she have here? This shows that as a hunter, she has accuracy up B. Right now, currently, it is not proficient though. So if we switch to a new job, she will not get to keep that. Right at the moment, she's basically just, she has this because she has it. But as you see with this note here, proficiency 5, spells and some skills can be carried over. So if we wanted to change to a bard class, this accuracy up, which if I look at it and I move over and I press X on it, increases accuracy by 5%. So she has 5% extra accuracy right now. But if she changes to a new job without becoming proficient at it, she won't be able to take this ability over to the new job, which would be a bit disappointing. So let's see what we can do about this. So if we back out and we look at a bard, let's say we want to change it to a bard, right? If we go in here, hunter with the arrows pointing over to bard, right there, see those arrows that are bouncing back and forth? She will not get to take her accuracy bonus over into bard. Kind of sad. So we'd have to level her up a whole level for her proficiency to move up and for her level to move up. But those two can be a little bit different in a manner of speaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to accelerate her proficiency, okay, so that she can take this accuracy bonus over into the bard class. So this is what we're going to do with this. So let's back out here. So instead of changing to bard right now, we're going to go use our item, our awesome item that we found. We're going to use our proficiency item here. And the Enlightenment Scroll is right there. Scroll that boosts nice proficiency tier. So I think it just does 1 proficiency boost. So it's not like a bunch, just 1. And so we'll use it on her. And you can see her proficiency at 4. Her level's at 5. And you're going to watch this proficiency move up to 5. Okay, so now it moved up to 5, and you can see right here it's got a little medal next to it, which means, hey, you can take some of her abilities and her magic and go into another job class, and you get to keep that stuff because you were proficient at it. That's essentially what that means. So we're going to back out here. We're going to go to class. And let me clear that. But now let's move into Bard. And let's look at abilities. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. So now, because she's proficient as a hunter, it shows up in blue, and this is actually highlighted now, whereas before it was grayed out. Now she's going to take that skill into Bard. She doesn't get to take Dominant Sky into Bard, because that will not carry over into Bard, but this accuracy boost will. So this accuracy boost will carry over into Bard, right? So she will get to keep that. Let's back out 1 second. Let's look at Dancer. So look at that. She still doesn't get to take Dominant Sky, but she does get to take accuracy boost up. So accuracy boost up gets to move into there. Dancer's going to get a natural evasion up. If we try to look at some of these things, we'll see what this does. Evasion +5, accuracy +5. It would be pretty cool for Dancer, you know? You get evasion and accuracy bonus if we move into here. So, you know what? Let's go into Dancer. Let's do Dancer class. We're going to keep our accuracy up +5% because we were proficient with it now, because we used that item. And we got to stay at level 5. So let's go into Dancer. Let's change to a Dancer. You have to have these particular stats in order to change, like strength +55 or higher agility 50. You have to have one of the two in order to move into dancing class. This is why the Enchantress is grayed out, is because you need intelligence of 60 or higher, and she does not have intelligence of 60. Her intelligence is 56. So if you level her up to get to 60, then she could change into an Enchantress, okay? See, this is what you need to become an Enchantress, but she's only 56, so just not gonna happen right now. But anyways, let's go and let's try the Dancer class. Let's carry over our skills. Let's become a Dancer. We were a Hunter. We're going to keep our accuracy boost, and we're going to change to a Dancer. Okay, so now we're in the class for this. Guess what? Accuracy up B is one of her innate skills right now. It's her innate skill. It's right here, and as you can see, evasion up D for her extra evasion is grayed out because she's not proficient at it yet, because she just became a Dancer. So you can kind of see how this is like a really, really good effective boon here, right? So this is basically kind of what you want to do, and in doing so, you stay on a low level as much as possible while continuously increasing their proficiency to be max 5, and then you could go through more classes that way. And the more classes you go through, the more job abilities and spells you'll be able to take over into the next job. So now she's a Dancer. If she becomes proficient at it, she'll be able to take Venom over into maybe the Hunter class if you go back to the Archer class or whatever. And then you've got the spell Venom with her as that. So really, this comes down to micromanaging a lot of things as far as what you can do, but you can see now it's a pretty good idea, because proficiency and levels aren't exactly the same thing. It really just means I want to get as proficient as I can as quickly as possible so I can change to a new job, and then at that job I'll be able to do those skills, and then I can take those skills and those spells and then take that and be proficient and move into another job. If you want to gather as many spells and skills as possible for one particular night, which isn't a bad idea because it'll make them very strong overall. Because you can see now she's a little more accurate, so that basically means she's going to hit more often than she would otherwise as a Dancer, which essentially is, I mean, helping you in the battle, right? So, you know, I figured I'd go over a lot of this kind of stuff and kind of talk about a couple things that, you know, are intricate, interwoven into the game. And if we look at some things here like the monster equipment, we'll see there's like a Fang slot here that can give you extra accuracy for these Great Snakes, which these Great Snakes, this is the new Hydra class, okay? And if I go to class, I can show you that. Mermaids are the new mermen. There's no more mermen, they're mermaids. So that's what happened there. I mean, if I show you with the Hydra, you're gonna see it right here. So if we look on the right picture here, see how this changes here. I can't class it up yet because it's still the demo and I haven't been able to level it up. It goes into a Sea Serpent, and then you see the extra heads pop up. Now it's a Hydra. So, and it has those kinds of orbs for affinity as you move up. So yes, the Hydras are back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I figured I'd help you out with that. I don't think there's anything else I can talk about as far as equipment goes. If you have any other questions or comments or anything else like that, please leave it in the comments down below, the comment section down below. Please let me know. And in future, when the demos, well, I mean, when the regular game is out, then I'll play more of it and I will add more information to this section here. So I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next video. Definitely check out the playlist that I have of Brigadine, The Legend of Runerzia. It's got Kingdom Cast, it's got Kingdom Keep, and some explanations as to what I think the similarities are. And I will also have more guides and strategy videos coming out in the near future. So yeah, you'll get to see all that kind of stuff, all that kind of Brigadine stuff on my channel, and some other game content as well. So take care, and until next time.
Game over.
It is over when I say it is over.
Answer my call!